Hello there, friends. It's Three Card Thursday from Cards of Light, Bright Blessings of the Tarot for Thursday, October 20th, 2022. Brian Noe with you once again. Thank you for joining me this week. And you'll see that we've already gotten our mind quiet and dealt the cards here. This is because when I started this video earlier, I had a couple little dogs that went berserk because children were walking home from school and they were barking their heads off. So hopefully we will be undisturbed throughout the duration of this little session here. But back to the Rider deck this week, and we dealt three majors: Wheel of Fortune, the Magician, and the Star. So there could hardly be a more auspicious energy reading here for the weekend and the week to come. Wheel of Fortune is, we've talked about this many times. It represents the changes that we see in material reality, in this realm of relative reality that we are moving and having our being in at the moment. Things go up, things go down. They're always changing, even when they seem to be stable. They seem to be not changing. Things are always changing, if only subtly. The key, as we've talked about, is this still point in the center. The closer we can get to that, the closer we can get to the part of us and the part of our experience that is eternal and unchanging and perfect, the less all of this stuff flying around the wheel can upset us. There is a tradition in tarot that when this card pops up in a reading, it usually means that we're on an upcycle, that we're looking for some good fortune to come. That is sort of, though, because a lot of times when people come for a reading, they're dealing with an issue that they're struggling with and wanting some clarity on, wanting some help with. And so if that's the case and this comes up, it's like, oh, well, then things must be taking a turn for the better here. Whether it's better or not, things that we like, things that we don't, pleasures or aversions, we're still here and life goes on, and that's just the way it is in the material world. And again, the closer we can get to that center, the better. But in general, good auspicious card to start us off this week. Okay, the Magician. This card it's actually the second of the majors, but it's labeled number one. Of course, the Fool being the 0 card. The Magician, as above, so below. The microcosm reflects the macrocosm. We've got all of the tools of the magician and all of the suits of the deck here. We've got the wand, we've got the sword, we've got the cup, we've got the pentacle. We've got roses and lilies, and these again represent the spiritual and physical nature. And so this is a reminder that we are more than just our bodies. We're more than just the stuff that revolves around the edges of this wheel here. There's something at the center of us that is pure and perfect and eternal. And for me, this card is also a reminder to do practices each day that remind me of that eternal nature, that attempt, as the magician, I keep saying musician, maybe that's true too, magician is doing here, trying to unite heaven and earth, doing the things that remind us that these temporal material things are just that. They come and they go. And so we need to find the deeper stuff, the deeper part of ourselves that is eternal. And how do we find that? The Star. This card, I think, came up Sunday as well. And it's come up in several readings that I've done for folks lately. So it represents to me being one's authentic self, following one's heart, following that part of us that knows, that part that can guide us. So think of like the North Star, in navigation or something like that. But part of the way that this character gets to that is through vulnerability. The character on this card is stark naked out in the middle of a field, pouring this water partly on the ground, partly in the pool, which represents, of course, the unconscious or universal mind. And no shame, no worries about that or anything. Just like a baby, perfectly natural, and just doing what comes naturally. So part of that is about not just getting in touch with our guidance and following our guidance, but being bold about it, being authentic about who we are, and not fooling ourselves or others about any of that. Being open, and let's face it, there's a vulnerability involved there. But that's where the real beauty is, when we can just be ourselves. So if there is any guidance in these cards, it's to remember that still point in the center, to remember the star in our hearts, and to do some practices every single day that get us closer to that, to the magic, to that which is eternal and perfect and beautiful. I think that does it. I like this particular version of the Smith-Waite deck. This is called actually the Smith-Waite Borderless Edition Tarot deck. So there are dozens, probably hundreds of the Rider deck out there, and different versions of it. And in the past few years, it seems like they have done a good job, sometimes not a great job, sometimes various manufacturers, of putting out cards that kind of capture the original spirit of Pixie's, Pamela Colman Smith's depictions of these cards. And let's just look at this table again one more time. These, I think, do a good job of, I don't know how authentic they are to, her original deck that she created, but I love the back. Got her, signature on it here, her initials that she, signed each of the cards with. You can usually find, there's a great video somewhere from Hermit's Cave where looking at all the cards trying to find her signature, and I think the star was one where it was maybe a little bit difficult to find, but you can see it here in the lower right corner of both of these. That's cool. I like the greens on the back of this, and cardstock is nice, and also just the palette on these suggests something. I don't want to say antique. I don't know how to describe it. It seems to be just kind of cooler, classier to me somehow, and has a little more gravity than some of the more brighter colored versions of this deck. But anyway, Smith-Waite Tarot Deck Borderless Edition is what this is called, if you're interested in it. Relatively inexpensive deck as well. But kind of cool, and nice to take a little break from the thought deck that we usually read with for these videos, and very cool to see three majors, and particularly these three majors, pop up as we do that. So I think that's about all I have to say about these this week. As always, I welcome your comments either here on the video or out at the weblog at brightblessingstarot.com. I should be back on Sunday for our Sunday morning spread. And in the meantime, as always, I wish you peace. Take care of yourself.